Welcome to TradeNBI.com. This trends report is for the 10th of September. Well, we kind of ended up with a flat day for starting the week, and unfortunately it left some weak readings here with the orange having crossed above both cyan and green, and now we were looking for the steel to cross below cyan as a bigger sign of weakness, and green did the same as well. So the only really thing that's keeping this from beginning some type of a retrace would be the fact that we still have rising shakeout as well as magenta, but intermediate signals are just indicating that there should be some softness coming through here. So we'll be looking at the 76%, and of course would not be surprised to see any move towards the ABM at this particular point. We're still within our P3, which is the pivot at the higher level, as well as the X2s, meaning that we are still within positive reading because of those shakeouts that can start to change pretty quickly. NQ, a little bit more significant from that crossover. The same kind of situation. Also, I think that we saw it also with the shakeout here where you had Azure meeting the gold. And that's usually an indication, so if you ever wonder, you can always look at the colors that are right there on the readings that come through. It's close, it's not quite exactly the same, so there's still a little room there. And from an NQ standpoint, gold still within its range, so we've kind of reached a neutral point from a pink 2, that's why the GAM function is showing up underneath. Euro, of course, now you have no Brit exit deal, which means that they're supposed to do an extension. The Boris is saying not, so the euro is suffering. Well, the pound is suffering more than the euro in this particular case. It's still bullish for the euro in the sense that the likelihood of the Brits staying in the EU for an extended period could still exist, and with a little bit of support from U.S. Fed, they can drive this back up a little bit further. We expect it to come back up to the zero. They got a little bit past that. Bullish from a DOC reading as far as that goes. And oil popping back up again, defying this idea that everything's going to hell in a handbasket as far as the economies, because you certainly wouldn't see oil rising within that failure. Gold just fully. We got plenty of positive extreme action that needed to be filled right there. It's now completely done as far as that earlier stance. This was the previous one that started all the way over here. So there's the potential for that as a far downside, and it's still within a weak configuration at this particular point. Intraday action. We started up with the move, plus 10-ish or so, and then we ended up with the DOC spread that took place right here, and it was sort of in a positive rising magenta at this particular point, however, still below the 15, so that would have been the earliest point. The next bar confirmed it with actually flat to magenta on the shakeout, and so that led to a nice little pull back down here. Got to the 23% on a couple of dips. This one finally gave the full reset on the secondary. That led to a little bit of a positive action, which finally produced a P2 with the rising shakeout and everything, but turned around real quick here when we got the orange above steel and orange above cyan. At the same time, steel crosses below cyan and green below red, and it didn't take long for that to start rolling over, and that produced the biggest dips right back to our algo levels, the 77, and then boom, supported right off the 71. Came back very close to the full fill of the dip below the red line right here, just about 72 even. Did it again, so it created your effective triple bottom that gave some support move, and that's what we're seeing right at this particular point right now. The 50K was also showing a little bit of softness within this move. That went up right there. You can see the mode just bought this. We did a magenta candle, but a magenta where you end up with the dip below the red line often tend to get support. Now in this particular case, 50K, even though you have rising red and green, you didn't have a dip of orange below red, so it's probably going to be a little modest, and we're still within declining shakeout, as you can see by the little red dots right there. And that's the one I'm continuing to work with right now. When you see green ones, it means rising magenta shakeout, and then nothing means that we've gone flat. and then red means that they've started to turn. So the question is, you got to break the previous high of that 100% marker right there, which is the 9150 range, in order to get any momentum out of this going forward. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that, but certainly the potential for support in that has to be at the 77, and if that fails, 71 and then below. We have a whole series of previous ones we're seeing already, yellow extreme developing. So, but you still had rising gold from this level early on, and it's continued here on the 5K. So just follow that as it goes, but certainly the daily in that has the potential for some bearishness, so we'll keep an eye out for that. But the range is still pretty good. I mean, still 15 plus point range movement overall within a day. So keep playing it as it is. There wasn't anything special to report on any of this. So as always, though, if there's something unique, I'll put it on the Skype chat. Trade well. We'll talk to you later.